Editor Ira Schofel and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, Pistols and Pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
The Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV begins right effing now. Like the voice guy just told you, there's Ira, there's Corey. Hello, boys. Good to be with you again, as always. Before we get started, because last time I buried the lead, I didn't get straight to it. Yay, sausage!
Fantastic. Well done.
Yeah.
Did you see his promo code?
No, I didn't.
Cleaning house.
Was it after the firings? Or
yes,
was it...
yeah. It was after the fire. I'm pretty sure it was the clean house or cleaning house, but it was one of those was the promo code.
I'll figure out what it was and share it here in a second. I'll look it up. But empathy not real high over at the been in the Register's headquarters right now for this Florida State coaching staff.
No need to have empathy. They're not volunteers. And fade handsomely. You either get the job done or you don't. You take it on down the road if you don't, and that's where we're at. But yes, we always celebrate those that do get it done, like Register Sausage, by the way. Tasty.
Yeah, so you can get 20.
That's great.
I still love you, Alex, and Adam, and Ron.
I like them now.
But
I loved them this time a year ago. Now I'm falling into the
promo code at registermeats.com. Registermeats.com is the website. The promo code is clean house. One word. You get 25% on all 25% off on all online orders.
Do you get even more off if he keeps going? Like we get a couple more fire
go up to 30, 35%.
Yeah, like let's keep it going.
Needs to let Norvell know. And I assume, the coaches who are fired and got big buyouts, they're not allowed to use that promo code.
Nope.
They're exempt from it.
That would be funny if they did.
Full price.
It would be funny if they did.
You know what? Screw you.
Screw you. You're about to lose some money.
Register Sausage, guys. We talk about it all the time, and more people are trying it out and seeing why it's so good. And it's the full complement breakfast sausage. You got the sausage bun size sausages, which I've come to really appreciate. Then you've got the jalapeno cheddar, which is I think one of your guys' favorites, and the andouille, which is the classic
andouille.
So go to registermeats.com and use that promo code clean house for 25% off. That's where we are, guys.
Hey,
they might be 50% off by the end of the season.
I was gonna say, who knows? You get a round of free 10% sausages
for every coach that's fired.
Hey, so what a season we've covered.
Hey, how was South Bend, guys?
I had a great time in Chicago.
No, I didn't ask about Chicago.
Oh,
I had a good time in Chicago.
How was South Bend?
I actually had a good time in South Bend too. I knew what the score was going to be, or thereabouts. And I had the whole family, and we toured the university and did a bunch of stuff that didn't have to do with the result of the football game.
How did you have them scoring 16 points or 14 points, whatever it was you had in your – what was going on there?
I think what I had – look, if they're driving right down the field there at the end of the game. I want you guys to understand that's a 14-point swing right there. You're going in for a score and said they go and
you were counting on the patented late fourth quarter Brock Lane touchdown drive.
I thought exactly they'd be on their third-string defense, and you're going to get a late touchdown to get into double – and I also thought they'd have 6 points before that.
So because I think I picked 6, and
I switched it. I went 45-7. Remember we were doing So I went. I think something like that.
I had 7. I changed it to 6 because I realized they probably wouldn't score a touchdown.
I think I had them obviously I had them losing, but I think I had Notre Dame covering. I can't remember what my score was, but it was they did cover.
I think we all had them covering.
I was just curious about the path to
yeah, man, it's easy. It's easy. You can see it. It was right there, and then he throws a bad pass, and it's picked off and run back the other way.
Yeah, a long ways. It's a long way.
Also, if Croman Hawk throws the ball to Benson instead of curling in for a sack, that's an easy 7.
It was from where I was, Corey, on that particular play. I was able to show the kids, see, there's a quarterback that's looking at the rush because that kid that's running right at us is open. He's wide.
See, there he is. He's kind of throwing his hands up.
I mean, I did it in play. It was great. It was like the coaches all 22.
It's unfortunate. It's all unfortunate.
But that's where they're at. It's not surprising. But to answer the question, we had a good time, buddy. I think we enjoyed South Bend, enjoyed Chicago.
Ran into Jeff at the museum, the Art Institute. Or Institute of Art,
that's right. Yeah, he came out for the live show, right, and rocked right into a drum line. For the whole time, for his whole segment.
Nothing I can do about that. They started up as I was coming down the steps.
Well, they saw you coming out.
Like, there's the man. Let's go. Yeah. But no, what a season we've covered, and it was moving inexorably to this, right, where changes were going to happen. We speculated during the last Seminole Headlines that there was a shot, given where this game fell on the schedule with the upcoming bye week, that's this week, that if they were as bad as they've been, and given the compressed nature of college football now with recruiting and all that, this might be the week where the changes happened and the firings were announced, and they have. Are either of you surprised we haven't heard from the athletic director?
No, and I was talking to Tom about this. He said you guys talk about it some in the third hour today. I mean, it's a difficult situation, I think, for an athletic director. And I get why Aslan asked that question yesterday, but that whether or not he had the support or was he happy he had the support of, listen, man, anybody not named Mike Norvell that's high on the food chain at Florida State wants everybody fired. Like there's nobody at the administrative level who's like, oh, what's that going to cost us? Their lives are immeasurably better today than they were yesterday. And I'm talking about Rick McCullough, the president, Michael Alford, the AD, the board of trustees members,
Jeff Coltrane.
They're all their lives are better today because they can at least talk about, okay, there is going to be changes. And so, but I think the balance there, so there's no question Michael Alford supported this and was all about it, I'm sure. But the balance is if you come out with a statement right away, does it look like, was it your choice or was it the head coach's choice? And now you kind of can create some tension there between the head coach and athletic director if the AD is stepping all over Mike Norvell's moment. So I could see him maybe giving it a little space. I understand why people would question it. But to me, there was never any debate about whether or not Michael Alford was supportive of this and thrilled, I'm sure, that they're making these changes.
You?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with Ira. I would have been surprised. I don't know what purpose it would have served for Alford to come out and say something, just to support the head coach.
Yeah, to support the head coach.
I think the fact
athletic directors want you to know that they have their hands on their athletic department.
But I think that's
going well.
Yeah, but I think that's a challenge. No, I got you. And when things are going bad, you don't want to see them disappear.
Yeah, they totally disappear.
But this is to me, this was a positive movement for Mike Norvell.
Yeah, it's Norvell taking full accountability because it is his program. It's not like him and Alford had an argument last year about whether to keep Fuller or Atkins. I mean, Norvell wanted these guys, so it's his sword to fall on, I think. And he did, and good for him. And I mean, we talked about it on Sunday. It was like the first positive day, and I hate saying this because I really do like Adam and Alex a lot. We didn't get to talk to Dugans nearly as much, but it was the first positive day for this program in a good long while. Like people felt buoyed again. We'll see if it was false buoyment.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I know you guys talked about it a little bit on Wake Up. We haven't had a JCS since the firings yet. So
bonus hour today. It's all about the coaches.
But yeah, I mean, I think a few people texted me that they thought Norvell kind of looked maybe like a little bit relieved when he spoke yesterday. And you mentioned maybe confident or assertive. Man, the worst thing in the world, firing friends, and man, I get it, man. People are like, oh, they make millions of dollars. Who cares? I get it. Nobody wants to fire a friend. You just don't want to fire a friend because it does affect.
Well, it can
especially
affect you brought him in, and then you have to feel like you let him down.
That's why I still have a job
because
you can't pull the trigger.
You can't do it.
I want to get to that 100%. I agree 100%. Like those guys taking the fall pretty much for Mike Norvell. Now they've got culpability.
Sure.
But the only reason Mike Norvell won't be fired is because of his buyout.
Sure.
And so those guys are taking the bullets for that. And I'm sure that's part of why Mike Norvell, if he's a person with a conscience, probably feels bad that they're paying the price for a lot of decisions he made. But the only thing worse than doing that is knowing you're going to be doing that for a couple weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever it was, and working with them every day.
Yeah. That's awful.
I mean, can you imagine that? You're sitting in meetings, talking about the future, talking about recruiting, and in the back of your mind thinking, man, I'm going to have to put a bullet in you. I mean, that's not
figuratively.
Well, yeah. Figuratively.
I think.
Yeah.
I do wonder. I mean, that business is you're hired to be fired in most cases, unless you're a legend like Saban or Bowden. I mean, for the most part, and even those guys, if you stick around long enough, you'll probably get fired.
Bowden was.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what happens. Yeah, it's got to suck, but at the same time, those guys had to know that was coming. I mean, this is putrid. They knew probably every day they were in the halls, like, we're not going to make it.
Right.
We're not going to last. I mean, we can't score.
I think everybody in the staff, honestly, I think everybody in the staff, and that's part of why I'm not saying this is why the team is tanked even worse lately, these 3 straight blowouts, but it doesn't help. I think the vast majority of coaches on that staff have already been looking.
Oh, yeah.
The analysts have been looking, like everybody's knowing that there's a good chance. Now, maybe they'll be surprised and they'll get to stay, but the odds are most of them are going to be replaced. So, yeah, I don't think it would be a surprise for anyone if they get the call, hey, bring your playbook. But at the same time,
what playbook?
At the same time, it's it's still, man, you're dealing with human beings, and you know how it affects people.
At the end of the day, the only thing I would quibble with, Corey, and it's not even quibbling. It's maybe the phrasing. It was a positive day. You're saying it's a positive day.
They were buoyed. Yeah, they were buoyed by it.
I think the fan base is, for those that question,
it was
encouraged
a little bit, because there were a lot of people we heard from. They're like, he's not going to do it. I don't know why they had that thought.
I never understood that thought. I don't know where that came from. I don't understand how you would.
Well, it's just because of the history at Florida State. Jimbo didn't want to do it. I mean,
but that's not applicable to entirely separate regime.
But I mean, Bobby
Bowden didn't do it. But you're hyper focused on your school, and there are a lot of head coaches that are.
Well, most coaches don't want to fire people, but they also all do.
Yeah,
they all fire people when they're about to be fired.
Right. No, 100%. So we all believed it was going to happen, and I think some people did. But I understand why people wouldn't or be concerned.
I think they're fearful. I think it was born out of fear. But I mean, this was so, as we've documented, and it's obvious to anybody with eyes. This is so catastrophic. You would have zero chance to keep your own job if you didn't fire people. I mean, this was asinine what was happening here, and is asinine. And I'm not saying that you think it was a great day for Florida State. It's in a season like this, there are no great days. You just want a measure of hope that things can get better.
Yeah.
And yesterday may have been that.
I just think the only thing worse for Mike Norvell than having to fire both of your coordinators 9 months or 10 months, whatever it was, after you just got them raises and extensions. Mm-hmm. The only thing worse than that would be for people to believe you only did it because they made you.
Right.
That's not it. So I think if Michael Alford, if I'm Michael Alford, that would be a concern. You don't want to make it.
If he speaks out, it makes it look like he told Norvell you have to do this. And I think the majority of the fan base looks at this and goes, the head coach has finally had enough. He'd probably had enough a month ago, but he's finally had enough, and he did the biggest thing he could do. Because he's not firing himself. So the biggest thing he could do was fire both coordinators. You know what? I'm through with this. And we talked a lot. Everybody was so upset for the last month. Not upset, but just criticizing. I'm tired of the words. He keeps saying the same things over and over. Well, this was action. Now, there was some action on Saturday night in South Bend. They proved they didn't want to play for these guys anymore. And then he took dramatic action and fired them with two games left to go in the season. That's not normal to just
I think it's going to become normal in the compressed college football world we live in. You are seeing assistant coaches around the country being like,
but it was the most drastic action he could take for a drastic catastrophe that we've been through this season. So I think that's why maybe fans are encouraged. Okay, it's not just words about how he believes in the guys in the locker room and they're still working hard. It's no, these guys are done. I can't watch this anymore. That's the message he sent.
Well, and the thing that stinks about it, to your point, that this is going to become more norm. It's going to be more volatile because, again, when you see in Indiana turn what they did around, when you see Vanderbilt, they bring in a new quarterback and a tight end from New Mexico State, and all of a sudden they're beating SEC powers. Yeah. So it is going to be something that everybody holds up and says, hey, you got to bring in coaches who can bring players too. They can turn it around quickly.
With coordinators,
but the problem is, with coordinators. Yeah,
I don't know about head
coordinators.
Coaches,
definitely coordinators.
Yeah.
But it's going to increase the pressure on head coaches too. But the problem is these contracts are still going to be the same crap they've been, where they get 3-year deals.
Might we with these huge ridiculous see the changes we've longed for?
It would be awesome, but I don't know how that's going to happen. Because what's going to happen right now, I guarantee you, Alex Atkins and Adam Fuller are going to get jobs where other schools pay them like $150,000.
Yeah.
Like FSU got with Randy Shannon, and they got the O-line coach before him, and you get these discounts.
Florida State pays $3
million. You're paying for
$8 million.
these staffs at other schools. And
I believe we're beginning to see the beginning of something different because college football is untenable right now. This is not a good system. Right. This is not good. Florida State may be the extreme outlier, but it's not the only outlier. We're watching weird things happen across the sport, and we think it's just the tipping point. I don't believe it's going to be all that odd to see disparate seasons of extreme measures. You're going to see teams that win 9 games and turn around and win 4. This did not happen in the old college football landscape.
Isn't it? I mean, we've talked about it. It's the NFL, man.
It is like the NFL now.
But even worse because you don't even have long-term contracts.
Correct. It's way
the
worse.
Players are on 1-year deals.
It's way worse than the NFL. And I remember when we were talking about the changes we wanted to see where players could get a piece of the pie, and we thought they deserved that. We thought fair-minded people believed that. We said there needed to be some unilateral rules that were adhered to, and that you had to be very careful during this process because change is always tough for everybody. But to your point about the NFL, they do it better. And these contracts mean I don't have to worry about somebody stealing my best linebacker after I bring him in. I bring in the best player that's going to fix a problem from last year's defense. I need a middle linebacker. I don't have one. We suck. We've missed on the draft. Bring in that free agent from San Francisco. pay him for 5 years, $40 million guaranteed. Guess where he is tomorrow? Here. You know where he's going to be next year? Here. You know where he is the year after that? Right effing here. I can scheme it every day knowing nobody's touching him. You can't do any of that in college football. Your best player could announce to the world that he loves it here and would never want to go anywhere, and an hour later get a better deal and ride, and you have no recourse. There's nothing you can do. Suck it. You're going to suck that year until you find some other kid that you're renting for a year and hope like hell you can hold on to him too. It's going to be – I mean, it's really difficult to watch. Now, there doesn't seem to be any excuse for being this bad ever.
No.
But I do think you're going to watch – some team, you're seeing it now.
Well,
Michigan's going to go 6-6.
I think Michigan and Washington are what the normal examples are going to be. Both those teams were in the playoff last year. One of them, they both played for the national championship. Right. They're both going to go 6-6. Like I think that's the norm. Florida State, as you said, I think this is
both lost their coaches. Both lost their coaches, but still,
and still they're going to be 6-6, not 2-10.
Right.
So this is an all-time outlier. But yeah, hopefully there'll be some parameters put in place, some guardrails put in place. Maybe the revenue sharing, whenever that comes to pass, will help all this out immensely. But yeah, I'm all for NIL deals being that's your new contract. You don't get paid
like incentive based,
but also year based. Like you stay here for 3 years. You can't sign an NIL with in another state. It has to be in this state. It has to be in this city. Whatever you have to do to make them beholden to you because you're paying them.
Yeah, the problem is you don't have collective bargaining.
Yes, correct.
So you can't just come up with whatever contract you want to. That precludes somebody from making
money.
You
can start making offers they can't refuse. And I think we both know what I'm saying.
It sucks that Florida fans have to be the great outlier in the shifting sands of college football.
All these kids have pets, I'm sure. They have and you just do you go the Godfather route. You have to do something.
Yeah, until whatever happens, if there is collective bargaining at some point, which it seems like you're going down that road if it can get there. Until then, you just got to play the game like everybody else, man. I mean, you just got to go out and loot other people's rosters. Yeah. And
you aren't Florida State, so you do more looting than you get looted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They are higher on the food chain than, imagine being a Georgia Tech fan. A Georgia Tech fan's got to be worried. Like I would be at 44's house right now if I'm Mike Norvell. And I play a different game than Mike Norvell. But I'd be at number 40. I can't remember his name, but he's a badass. They're linebacker.
Oh, yeah. Well, every year we play Georgia Tech, they have a linebacker.
You just like the neck roll.
I love the neck roll.
I also like the sideline.
Yeah, the tackles he makes. But I would be doing like I was going to say the Love Actually. No, I like where you went. Where you just have signs.
I thought you were going to hold up the boom box.
You went a little older than I did, but both of them are not great analogies. But yeah, I would just be Norvell every day, not talking to him because you're not allowed to.
I just like you holding it up while Peter Gabriel Blair.
No, you got another. I'm not doing anything. I'm doing Love Actually.
Better. I want you to do that.
That would be, but I don't think our audience knows that one. But that's a great scene. Yeah, where he's holding up the boom box.
Mostly because of the song.
Yeah,
well, the song makes it a lot better.
And you holding it up with that song in your eyes.
But are there any rules against Norvell doing that? Pulling say anything?
There are no rules in college football. There are no rules.
Well, I hope he's in Atlanta right now.
I hope he's stealing.
You think that's going to be effective?
Best players in the country.
That kid will see. If Norvell's every day there every morning for the next 12 mornings, even during the season, that kid knows he's.
Remember,
I get reported on.
Harbaugh had his sleepovers back in the day.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot how uncomfortable that was. Just staying at a recruit's house.
Yeah, got there at 12:01 a.m.
Very
First man he could be there.
Very strange. Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment.
All right, about that time to upgrade my iPad and my Apple Gear. How much memory do I need? What upgrade should I get? What size screen? How many chargers do I need? USB-C, USB-D, mini USB, USB-B, ABC, 1, 2, 3.
If only there was a local business that can guide you and help you understand what you need and get you the best pricing possible. Oh, wait, that's what they do at Mac & More Systems. Get help buying the right gear for the right price and have it shipped directly to their store for pickup, all at no extra cost. That's the kind of service you won't get at any big box store. Shop local at Mac & More Systems. Find out more online at macandmoresystems.com.
I'm Craig Richards with Basic Brooks Law Offices, and we believe you. Now, what does that mean? Over and over, we hear from people we represent that they shared their stories of how they were injured, either with law enforcement, insurance companies, or business owners, and they didn't believe their story. That's why you need an attorney who has your back, no matter what. An attorney who starts by believing you're telling the truth. We at Basic Brooks, we believe you. Let's talk. 850-777-7777.
This month, new Titan trucks have 0% financing for 60 months and get up to $8,000 off. Plus, with the best warranty in America, 5 years or 100,000 miles bumper to bumper, it might just be the best truck deal in America and only at Kraft Nissan.
Wooden Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Wooden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at woodenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Know your body and transform your life with DexaFit Tallahassee, your go-to for science-backed health insights. Their DEXA scan gives you the most accurate body composition available, measuring bone density, muscle mass, and both subcutaneous and visceral fat. Get the data you need to track progress and make real changes. Your VO2 max is the best indicator of health and longevity, but it offers more than just a number. It shows respiratory function, calories burned at different intensities, and whether your body burns fat or carbs, helping you train smarter. DexaFit's RMR test reveals how many calories you burn at rest and the type of fuel your body uses, so you can dial in your diet for weight loss, muscle gain, or maintenance. And their red light therapy soothes sore muscles, reduces inflammation, and rejuvenates your skin. Right now, get a DEXA scan and red light therapy for just $99. That's a $184 value. Call 850-510-7728 or visit DexaFit Tallahassee's website to book. Know your body and transform your life this fall with DexaFit.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Get to a couple of questions that were submitted to us in the chat here in just a second, but as illustration, and the timing is perfect given what happened over the weekend, the illustration of how crazy different college football is today from yesteryear. Jerry Faust died yesterday. You guys are old enough to remember Jerry Faust at Notre Dame. For our listeners that are not, just so you know, Jerry Faust had never coached in college in his life. He was a successful high school coach in Ohio.
Very successful.
Very, very, very successful.
Like their Valdosta.
To get the Notre Dame job.
Not mildly successful, very successful high school coach. And he was hired to be Notre Dame's coach. And it wasn't like Notre Dame sucks as they often do now. Notre Dame was elite at the time that they hired Jerry Faust. Now, he failed. And he was eventually,
I think he
resigned.
He replaced
Dan
Devine, who replaced Era Parsegian. And Dan Devine was in Rudy. He's the coach that finally allowed Rudy to play in that last game. Portrayed by the same actor that played Harris in Major League, the old pitcher that uses non-balls. And he was also one of the dads in Hoosiers. That's that same actor. He's been in like 3 of the best sports
character
movies of all
actors, been
time.
in a bunch of things.
Yeah, he was great.
Anyhow, but think about that. Imagine if Florida State hired at the midst of all of this. Well, we're going to go to the high school ranks, everybody.
David Wilson from Lincoln High.
Yep. Let's go.
We're going to bring him in. He's been really good. We feel good about it, guys.
Yeah. Jamie in the chat pointed out, it was Moeller High School in Cincinnati, and they were a huge deal.
Yeah.
They were like the Valdosta of the Midwest. Right?
And he did not last very long.
No, 3 years.
And then I think was it Akron or somewhere?
He went to Akron and
did
okay. And ushered them into this level of football. Yeah. Yeah, 30, 26, and 1. It was a 4-year run. For
all right.
old
Not what
kid.
they were looking for coming off that the 70s.
Kind of get what you get when you hire a high school coach.
Yeah, that was an odd
I mean,
decision.
it did seem odd at the time, but it was the grand experiment is what they called it. And I remember my dad saying that to me when we were watching Notre
So
Dame.
what if there was an unbelievable high school defensive coordinator out there, or a high school coach, and you wanted to make him your DC?
What's funny though is, man, you remember when Jimbo hired Pruitt. That was one of the first things we looked at. It's like, dude, this guy was coaching high schools like 4 years ago.
Yeah, and he was a GA at Alabama for 2 years. Alabama, I think Saban wouldn't make him a position coach for a couple of years.
What's his name at Clemson? Kind of saved Dabo's bacon when they brought him in as OC. But by the way,
Chad Morris.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 82 from 1962. Speak, Jeff, to 1980. Faust went 174-17 in high school.
Yeah. So he lost twice as many games in
that is
4 years at Notre Dame.
Yeah. I mean, good
He
Lord.
was recruiting. Everybody knows the story of Cincinnati Moeller back then.
It's
They were
just
getting
like
all the best
UCLA.
players. UCLA with John Wooden.
It's just same thing, guys. Same thing.
Yeah. I don't know, man. This is going to be these hires will be interesting because you are in a weird position. I mean, it's we all understand the situation Florida State's in. You have a head coach who's going to be either 2-10 or maybe 3-9 or maybe 1-11.
Could be 1-11.
Probably 2-10.
Better chance of being 3-9 than 1-11, I think.
So the positives I think taking this job are you have. I think the chances are. I think it's 50-50.
You think so?
No, I think it's actually a better
You
chance.
think they got a better chance of
They're not
losing
going to
to-
lose the Charleston Southern.
That's what I said.
Oh,
I think
okay.
they have
I
a
thought
better
you were saying-
chance of being 3-9.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
But I don't disagree with you.
Thank you. Great.
Don't take
Glad we
exception.
cleared that up.
I wasn't really listening to the first part. I just assumed you said the dumb thing.
Corey's talking. I disagree. Yeah.
No, when they're in a tough situation because it is Florida State, as you said, which is attractive. I do think the fact that I said this last week, the fact that you're following a complete debacle
makes it more attractive.
Makes it kind of attractive because you can if you're just come in and go 7-5 or 8-4, it's going to feel like real improvement.
If your offense averages
27
points a game, you're seen as a hero.
Yeah. Right.
So look at this guy. These newfangled offense scoring touchdowns.
Doubled their output.
And this administration right now, they are behind the 8 ball. Man, there's a lot of reasons they need football to win. So they're probably going to get top dollar. And they're going to get multi-year deals.
Well, you can't go cheap now.
Right. So there's some attractive things to it. On the flip side, obviously, you are coming into a dumpster fire, and the head coach may be in trouble. If not in 1 year, then definitely within 2 years. So it's going to be interesting to see who they can get and what he can, and I know one of the big topics Corey asked about yesterday and he wrote about was Mike Norvell being willing to give over the offense. To me, that is like a no-brainer at this point. He's got to give over the offense because this program, there were so many leaks, so many problems. If he decides to keep the offense and keep calling plays,
but just with different position coaches,
there's no way. Good luck. And if it works, fantastic. But man, you are setting yourself up for a bad feedback, a bad offseason, and probably a bad result.
I mean, good luck getting coaches that want to come coach in this offense that just is scoring 13.3 points per game.
Well, there are real repercussions for having one of the worst seasons in the history of college football. And that is that no matter if you don't want to give up play calling, you now have to because you butchered it. You screwed it up. You ruined everything. So now you don't get to make the calls anymore.
And I'm not of the opinion, like I know Corey, I heard you saying last week that there's a bunch of coordinators you could hire and know that they wouldn't have this bad of a result on offense. I don't know if I believe that because nobody would have thought Norvell could have had that this season, but it did happen. And so you just can't, even if he wants to. And I honestly, man, I believe him when he says he doesn't care who's calling the plays. I think he thought he was the best they could do.
There was a time where he was.
And that clearly was not this season. I don't know who would have called good plays with the situation they're facing.
There are that's what I keep saying. That's what I wrote in the column. Like, I don't care the call and play stuff. I don't care. It's like, I don't care who calls play number 11 with this crap offense. It doesn't matter. Well, I don't care the order they call plays in. I want a new offense, like a whole new offense. I don't care if you keep the same offense and like, oh, Joe's going to call all the plays now. Great, man. So he's still picking from this menu of slop. Like you're coordinating the offense, meaning you put all these people in place. I want a brand new set of eyes.
Well, it's fair
to bring in everything.
I think they're two different things, Corey. I think that you're right to say you want a brand new set of eyes and fresh blood in here to revamp how they're going about, moving the football. I don't have a problem with that. But there's nothing really new under the sun. You're going to run the spread. You're going to run tempo. You're going to run maybe you're not. Maybe you're going to run a different offense altogether.
I guess my
there's
point
nothing
is,
new under the sun. They're going to still call an offense that everybody has.
And I don't want it to be like it's got to be very, very similar to my offense. It's got to be a guy that we have the same belief in what. I mean,
right?
No. You go get somebody that's been a badass running offense.
Yeah, but he may run
Correct.
your offense.
But it shouldn't be like a requirement, a requisite.
No,
that
and
he
I don't
has
think
to
it would
run
be.
this kind of offense.
No, I think they're going to try to get the best guy for the job, regardless of what he runs.
Preferably if you can bring a quarterback and maybe a couple offensive linemen.
Yeah, it'd be
or
great.
a receiver or two.
Yeah, if you could bring a half of James Madison's roster the way they did at Indiana.
Apparently, that's the key.
Out. Well, that's the key. As long as you play the 103rd ranked schedule in the country.
Yeah.
Now
we're gonna start bagging on Siggs.
Well, yeah. Let's go easy here. Yeah. They've beaten maybe nobody who's going to go to a bowl.
Yeah,
we'll
I know. They have not played a good team.
So I do think it matters. Now he's done a great job regardless because they've never done this.
And they're also beating the crap out of those teams, except for Michigan. They beat the crap out of everyone.
No, he deserves a ton of credit. It just should be pointed out.
Yeah,
it's not exactly Murderer's Row that they're mowing down here, but
it's coming.
It's to me. Yes, that's fine. I don't think he'll call plays. I think he knows he has to do everything he can.
Will he take his hands off completely?
No, but
I mean, to the
what
point,
is it you say you do here, Mike? If you're not going to have him do anything, what do
no,
you
you be the head coach. Signetti doesn't call any freaking plays. He stands. They asked him the other day about him. He stands on. He's like Bowden.
Yeah,
he stands down the sideline. He doesn't call plays on either side of the ball. You can be a head coach, especially today, and just be the freaking head coach.
Yeah, but I wasn't. That's not my point. I don't want him.
No, I know.
I'm saying to him, like, hey, he's going to coordinate with his coordinators.
He's not going to not do anything. He's not going to do anything for a week. Yeah,
he understands football.
Yeah.
I mean, if he doesn't, we don't need him to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to sit down with his coordinators and be like, all right, well, this is what I think we should run. He's going to listen to them.
Yeah.
And then
I would suggest everybody listen to this. There's a book out there called St. Bobby and the Barbarians. It followed them. It was a great book. It followed Bobby through the 1991 season. That whole team. They start out out number one. They win 10 in a row. They lost on the first wide right. In Bowden in that year, Mark Richt was the OC. Yeah, maybe Brad Scott was the OC. But Bobby Bowden had a lot of input. Bobby Bowden game planned with them every week. Yep. But it was Brad Scott's offense. It was Mark Richt's offense. Bobby Bowden was the head coach.
Is this the famous discussion between Richt and Bobby?
No, that's not in that
book. That's later. Yeah. He does have to have that conversation.
Yes. But in that instance, Bowden is given real game plan advice. He's breaking down film with them. But at the end of the day, it's those guys that are running the show. And I think that's probably when Bowden was more up in the tower anyway. Like, I'm not saying Norvell's ever going to be a tower coach at practice. But yeah, you obviously have input, and that's his side of the ball. And he can suggest plays, he can make plays. But like, I want the new offensive coordinator to bring in the people he wants to bring in. Because this has been such an epic failure. You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
That's all. I'm not saying he just Mike Norvell with his hands in his pocket.
They have to hit the ground sprinting. This was a disaster.
Oh, yeah.
You're not getting time to get in players. No, man, it's a free agency right now. Got to get players, bring in these new coaches, and you've got to be that staff has to operate at a high level from day one.
Striking the balance between those kinds of coaches that you bring on your staff who are elite at developing talent and those that are elite at recruiting talent is very, very interesting, right? Because you can, in some cases, you say, oh, my tight ends coach, I need him to be an elite recruiter because I got 9 guys that can coach tight ends. I need this guy to go be an elite recruiter. However, this guy, I really need him hands-on teaching the position. Like, it'll be interesting to see how Mike decides, and it also depends on who wants the job, right? How many different guys. I mean, I think there are more changes coming. For sure.
Yeah.
I think he'll be hiring a new linebackers coach. I think he'll be hiring some other coaches as well. And it'll be curious to see who he thinks he can get, because we all agreed last week that if changes were coming, and we thought they were coming sooner rather than later, that the back channels had already been utilized. I mean, they're all represented by the same 2 or 3 agents, one of them in particular, we all know. But surely that conversation began when Mike was aghast at 1-4.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? He had to at some point know, oh, well, the train's off the tracks.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get some help in here. Super agent, who's an up-and-coming guy under the umbrella that we can bring in here that would, see this.
What does his quarterback situation look like? Does he have a good relationship with his quarterback? Can he bring him in too?
All right, really quick. I know we got to go to break, but I want to get this question in. Noel Kev wrote, do you guys believe that schools, either through scholarship or NIL deals, will start having guaranteed time contracts since they're
so untenable.
So untenable. Sorry.
I think that could be something you could start putting in contracts that it's a 2-year deal or it's a
I mean,
3-year
they
deal.
just struck down non-compete clauses nationally. I just don't think there's a.
But these
from
are
a labor
NIL
law,
deals, right? This isn't like a deal with the school. This is a deal with theoretically companies that are paying you to promote things. And you could say, yeah, you're going to get $1.5 million over the next 3 years. If you leave after a year, you get none of it. I mean, you could put. I don't think that's against.
Well, I mean,
labor
they get
laws.
none of it, but that doesn't mean they couldn't leave and go get money somewhere
No,
else.
sure, but it would firm it up a little bit. I think.
Listen, if they could lock these guys in long-term deals, they would have done it already. I think
we're new into this, though, right? We're 3 years into this space. That's what I think. That
I do think that there will be a call from certainly most coaches in the industry. I mean, we know how bad they think it is because you have to re-recruit your roster every day.
We all agree it's ridiculous. The coaches who are retiring from the sport agree it's ridiculous. Everybody agrees it's ridiculous. The question is what can be done?
Correct. And I think that they're all working hard to find out the answer to that. They're not going to sit idly and say,
for sure.
Let's make it impossible.
But I don't think it's as simple as, I just want to be clear to Kev or whoever that was asked the question. Like, it's not as simple as just saying, okay, we're going to start doing it.
Right.
Yeah,
You can't just do it because you want to do it. Right. Yeah, that's fair. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Mainly cloudy this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 80. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. 66 tonight. Highs around 77 tomorrow. Cloudy skies. Upper 70s Thursday with a slight chance for showers. Mid 70s, lots of sunshine Friday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 78 degrees.
I'm Franklin, and I've been a Paul's Termite technician for well over 10 years. Working for a great company like Paul's Termite and Pest Control is a blessing for my family and myself. I get tremendous satisfaction knowing that the work I do helps protect most people's biggest investment, their homes, the place where they raise their families and build lifelong relationships. Paul's is a company that stands behind their commitments, customers, and employees, and that makes me proud to represent them.
I'm Jay. Having the privilege to work with people like Franklin and all of our employees is truly an honor. There is no doubt that the staff of Paul's Termite and Pest Control is the best in our industry. All of our people are local, and local really does mean something. We're North Floridians. Our kids go to school here. We shop here. We build relationships here, and we honor our commitments. To all of our customers, thanks for trusting us to protect your family, pets, and home.
For the elimination of termites, any other pests, and a greener lawn too, call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Every day, Cintas service reps help businesses get ready for the workday. They provide freshly laundered workwear delivered every week. Mats, mops, restroom and cleaning supplies. First aid and safety products to help your employees stay safe. They even test and inspect fire extinguishers and emergency lights. Cintas helps keep your business running smoothly. See what Cintas can do for you. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have a plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all three with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Rolling on Big River, another question was posed. Carrie wrote, Antonio Cromartie said he'd love to come coach at FSU in any capacity, and just basically goes on to say doesn't know if that he's a good coach or not. I think a lot of people are in Cromartie's shoes, especially if they're former players. I've heard a couple of former players' names mentioned in the coaching industry. Some of them not big names like Cromartie was, but the guys that are coaching now that either played or once played or coached at Florida State and are relatively young. I would imagine a lot of those guys would have that same sort of interest.
I think you need a splash of that on your – because the only former players you have on the roster right now –
just fired one of them.
Well, you just fired one of them who caught 2 touchdowns in the national championship game, and the other one maybe here, maybe not here, Odell, who's been here forever. So I'd like to have a little connection to the past. I don't want you just like watching these Miami games is just so there's Michael Irvin again.
The mascot.
I want somebody. Yes, right. He's not good enough to put on your staff, but he's down on the sideline jumping in front of cameras all the time. It's like, man, I don't mind a connection to the past and a connection to the dynasty. Not that Cromartie played for in the dynasty era.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Cromartie's the guy, but there are older Florida State former players that you could put on this staff.
Yeah, you also have obviously Odell, and then Jamie mentioned in the chat that Ernie Sims is an analyst on the staff too.
Yeah, Ernie and Cromartie back together, like that 2003 class.
Yes, exactly. No, Cromartie has done some videos where he talks about DB play and tweeted about cornerback play. There's no question. I mean, he is a freak athlete, one of the most gifted,
probably one of the 3 or 4 most
gifted athletes you've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's a huge part of it, but he also is really smart about football. So yeah, it's a possibility. He was on Jimbo's staff as a GA. I'm not saying he hasn't done much as a college coach yet, but Pat Surtain had never really been a college coach when they brought him in here, and he's done pretty well with the corners.
And also these days, you don't have to fire Surtain to hire Cromartie. It's unlimited coaching staff.
Yeah, you can call him whatever you want to call him. So yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. And he definitely wants to be here. He's a Tallahassee guy. But they're like you said, they're going to have a lot of people like that. The first thing that comes to my mind with defensive coaches is T-Buck. I thought they were going to try to hire T-Buck a few other times, and it's never happened. He's available because he took that head coaching job at in the XFL, and so that folded. So now he's back on the market. So, there are people out there like that, but then you got to balance it. They do bring really strong positives. Corey Fuller's also on the staff as a director of football relations. So you like to have those guys around, but yeah, you also need to get the best possible coaches you can get.
Yeah, and I don't want people around just because they have a connection to Florida State. I want to be sure that they're going to do something to help get this mess turned around, not just that they love Florida State. Not saying that you don't. I'm just saying, I've never been one of these guys because for years in basketball they would do this. Well, we got to get a Carolina guy. We got to get such and such. I'm like, no, you don't. You just need to get a good coach. Just get a really good coach. And in this case, we need a bunch of really good coaches. And I have a feeling that, again, there will be a lot of changes. So
everything being equal, though, you'd probably lean towards the guy.
If everything were equal, sure, absolutely. I think this is going to be.
The problem with that sometimes is, a guy like Mike Norvell, when he took the job here, if he didn't keep Ron Dugans or Odell Higgins, would that have been a problem for him? Possibly.
Probably.
Yeah. So you also don't want to hire people that in a different situation right now, and all bets are off because the next people to get fired are probably going to include the head coach.
And look, man, I'll go ahead and say it. I'll go ahead and say it right here. Dion.
His corners coach?
A DB coach.
Bring him in as a DB coach.
He's not going to want to be a head coach without his son being the great quarterback.
We'll check. We'll send some feelers.
Maybe he brings Travis Hunter with him.
I think Travis is going to go ahead and take it to the league.
I don't know, man. Just pay him enough. Make it worth his while.
Seems like it's me. I would tell you that I think for Mike and for all of us, this is going not for Mike. I'll put it. I was going to describe that differently, but for the 3 of us, anybody working in this industry, covering this program, this is fun. You're taking a different attack to work every day now. You don't have to continue to cover the misery that is the game.
Yeah.
We're there. We'll document what happens. Here's the score. There's how many yards the other team had. Yeah, great. But we're now talking about something that is much more interesting because every Saturday the result was never in question. They were going to get their ass beat. It was a train wreck. It was embarrassing. It caused you to feel bad. Done. Now we're going to talk about the things that
make you feel 2 sort of winnable games.
Well,
but not that we even care about
games.
That.
I don't even care about the games. I don't, because this season sucks ass and it's not going to get better if you win these 2 or not. At the end of the day, now I care about something we've never seen before, an unprecedented fall from the top of the mountain, if you will, to trying to dig yourself out of the gutter. And you got to do it on the fly in a new era of college football in a way that we've never seen, and it's going to be fascinating. It's going to be fascinating to document. It's going to be fascinating to see if it works. I have no idea if it will. Everybody's got an opinion that they think it will or it will not. Doesn't really matter. We're going to watch it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to document it. And these next several weeks on into December, given how compressed the schedule is, are going to be busier than hell with things that have nothing to do with getting beat 52-3.
No, that's the best thing, man. Like last week, and again, I never dance on anybody getting fired or I don't dance a lot in general, guys. I don't know if you realize that.
No,
You,
you'll dance
you know
some.
that. I'm
You'll
not
dance
not a
some.
big dancer.
Yeah.
But when
You still have your Michael Jackson Thriller outfit, though, don't
that's
you?
the only dance I do.
Okay, good. Perfect.
But no, I just imagine myself doing the Thriller dance. I think I myself.
And we're all imagining it. Yeah.
Anyway, thanks, Corey.
Yep.
No, so but last week was ridiculous. I mean, I told you guys
the game.
Watching practice last week.
Oh,
I was out there Tuesday and Wednesday, and I was like, I can't write anything about this because it's kind of preposterous where this is right now. Like the players are going through the motions. And when I say that, I'm not saying they're being jerks. I'm not saying that they're being defiant, but man, they look like a 1-9 football team.
Yeah.
They don't want to be out there any more than I guarantee you, if they could all cancel the season right now, every player would probably sign up for it and every coach would sign up for it. And the coaches are trying to coach, but some of it feels performative. Are they trying to keep their jobs? Are they trying to, they know media are there, so they have to act like they're still coaching, even though we know they're already looking for other jobs. I mean, and then you're going into a game with Notre Dame, who is going to destroy this team. And so those two practices, it was interminable. So now at least, man, you'll hear different voices out there. Maybe it takes some of the pressure off of, maybe take some, not just breaks a little bit of the tension, because now they know, okay, things are changing. And now they know that Norvell's the guy. And that's what all the recruits are saying. We've interviewed all these recruits that are commitments and other recruits. And now all they talk about is Norvell. We believe in Norvell. He's the vision. And that's what the players are going to start doing now too, because they realize that most of the staff isn't going to be there. So again,
many of them won't be here. Honestly,
that's very, very possible too. I just think it was big from a standpoint of, okay, finally there's like just that level of tension, I think, was broken with those decisions, which just makes these next 2 or 3 weeks, puts everything into a better focus of where this is going.
Which is also why I think really quick that within 24 hours, we will get a statement from the athletic director.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Mike's had his moment, you can come and reestablish that, we're all in on Mike. We believe in Mike. Clearly, Mike's got us. We've got this.
And I think going back to that conversation real quick, I think it would have looked weird, in my opinion, for Alford to make a statement. This is Mike Norvell's problem, and you need to be accountable. And if Mike Norvell says, we all know Alford, I mean, he didn't fire Mike Norvell. So I think if he comes out, like Ira said, I think it makes it more like Alford had a hand in this. And you don't want to look like you had a hand in this. You want it to look like, to your constituency, the head coach made this decision. He wasn't forced to do this. I didn't make him fire his friends. He wanted to fire his friends.
Yeah, but you do want to protect your head coach, who you are getting behind here, from the kinds of attacks that will be used against him with every recruit that is talked to.
So
you do want it to be known, he's going nowhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Sure.
I thought that would have said it. That would have been obvious, because you don't fire two coordinators. You don't make a big announcement.
Maybe not to kids.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're right. So, but I was going to say, it's going to be crazy, man. So National Signing Day is December 3rd, and it runs to December 5th. So that's 3 days to get your high school.
By the way, they
kids
got to
in.
get it together. That's stupid.
It's dumb.
It's just dumb as hell.
Then the portal opens up December 9th and runs to December 28th.
Yeah.
That's that next Monday. So Friday, you can't sign a high school kid anymore. And then starting that Monday, you can start signing. I mean, there are going to be 50-something new players that come to this program in a 3-week span to go along with probably 6 assistant coaches. It's crazy what's about to happen. The turnover on the roster, the turnover on the coaching staff, and having to do it full speed, at least he does have this week and next week for the runway.
Buckle up, December, boys. We're going to be busier than hell.
It's going to be awesome. I mean, it's really legitimate.
That's what I was saying at the start of the segment. Like, at least we've moved on from the banal nonsense of, they played. Got
Which
their ass
quarterback
kicked
do you
again.
like better?
They were terrible.
Yeah.
Didn't block anybody again.
Yeah.
Can't tackle. 3rd and long. Guess what? Bet they're going to convert. I mean, we did this every week. It was a broken record. So now you can concentrate on the stuff that will change that narrative. And nothing's going to change until they play a football game. And by the way, the next one that they play that's not involved in this season is against Alabama. You're going to want to see, do they belong on the same field? Because right now they don't belong on the same field as anybody who's any good.
Yeah.
Anybody who's any good.
Obvious.
And everything that's happening
And a lot
on
of teams
daily
that
basis,
aren't any good.
well, that's true.
Yeah.
And everything that happens from that day, yesterday, forward, is going to dictate whether or not they look at all in the way of competition, reasonably respectable against Alabama next year.
And the one thing I wanted to touch on, you guys made the comment about Michigan and Washington, and like we may see these swings, but Florida State being an outlier, that's why this whole staff is going to be fired, because you could.
Oh,
well, no, I'm saying other than Mike Norvell, and most of the staff, just figuratively, it's because you can go from. They made some mistakes clearly in putting this roster together, but it's not a 1-11 roster. It's not a 2-10 roster. That's why these coaches are getting fired. And so on the one hand, I say, yeah, man, a lot of it's on Mike Norvell. He's the ultimate architect of this team and this program and this roster. So he's the one that really should shoulder most of the blame, but it's not that bad of a roster. So that's where all these other assistant coaches, like nobody that gets fired from this staff can be like, I can't believe that. I mean, they've gotten worse and worse and worse.
My goodness.
If this is
even their punts are getting blocked now.
Exactly.
Legitimately.
By the way, repeatedly close to being blocked because Notre Dame had figured something out.
Yes.
Imagine adjusting in the game.
No change.
None. Hey, wait a minute.
This time it'll be better.
Guys. We go to the practices. You go to more than I do. Seems to me like they practice special teams an awful lot.
Yeah.
What are we doing out here?
That was not good.
Pooches, what are we doing out here?
Especially when one of the only two things
you're good at.
One of the only two things you may accomplish this year is you may have the Ray Guy Award winner, but now we'll see what happens.
And you're letting him down because his average was getting. Did he go
to the sideline and hug the quarterbacks after the game? Like, guys, now I know. Now I know what kind of ass kicking you're taking every day. This is awful.
He should be the one guy that everybody's protecting. We're all rallying around Mastromato because he might win the Ray
could
Guy.
have just been like, I thought you two sucked. Now I know you can't really.
There's no adjustments.
You can't really operate under this system. Yeah.
He should have started punting left-footed. We all know that, but in game, it's easy for us to say.
Good point.
But he didn't do it. I mean, I guess he doesn't want to win the Ray Guy. But yeah, no, I think there's no coach on this staff currently that would be like, wait, what? What? You're firing me? What? Have you seen my pit? Yeah, we've seen it all.
No.
Even I think Surtain's done a okay job. He's not been great. They have 2 interceptions on the year. They have 3 takeaways on the season as a defense, which is last in the country. Kevin Noles comes blindsiding free. The quarterback never sees him. Not only does he knock the ball loose like Deloach did, he barely gets into the ground.
Well,
I'm not trying.
But you know what? And I got 5 texts about that play from friends
it's
during the game.
A microcosm.
That's the point.
Yes.
I don't feel like it's fair to kill Kevin Knowles for that. Think about this entire season. How many big hits?
Softest ass team in the history of Florida State
other
football.
than Edwin Joseph.
It's
like,
unbelievable.
Where have there been any other big hits?
Softest ass team.
Joseph is a guy. Keep Joseph. I like Joseph. Keep him around.
We got one.
Norvell's calling out. He's calling other DCs. He's calling DC candidates and like, all right, who do you guys got coming back?
Edwin Joseph.
Let me tell you about 33.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah. You're not hearing me about 33.
Send me over some no. Tape burned. I don't know what happened.
It's not on YouTube either.
It mirrors the disaster of our season. What can you
do?
Just
go to Edwin Joseph's huddle film.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
He's a dude. Everybody else, we need you to help him. We need you to talk to him a little bit about the game of football and how it's played. Hour number 2, headliner questions forthcoming. Stay with. Let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
All the way. 222-7722. AC and electric is what we do. Service, repairs, and installation too. 222-7722. Persistent all the way.
The team at Parker Services is growing, and they have immediate openings for talented people. If you have experience in the air conditioning or electrical fields and share their values of honesty, empathy, loyalty, and professionalism, you can have a great career at Parker Services Air Conditioning and Electrical. Qualified candidates will be hired at a minimum of $25 per hour, depending on experience and qualifications. They have competitive benefits, including 401k matching, health insurance, and paid time off. Call or visit their website, TallahasseeAC.com, to apply today. CMC 050334 and EC 1301240.
This is Alex from Falmers. We've been buying gold and silver jewelry, fine watches, and other collectibles for over 45 years. But did you know Falmers buys and sells gold and silver coins, bars, and bullion? Don't get scammed online or pay high shipping and handling fees. Call or stop by Falmers for a quick and easy quote. No matter if you're new to investing in bullion or have been collecting a lifetime, Falmers is your local source for buying, selling gold and silver coins and bullion. Falmers, more than you might expect, with 2 great locations. As you probably know, Falmers buys, sells, and loans on just about anything of value. What you might not know is that when you buy something from us, we guarantee the total satisfaction of your purchase. Buy it, take it home, and if for any reason you decide you don't want it within 7 days, Falmers will give you 100% of your money back. And if you decide you don't want the item within 30 days, Falmers will let you exchange it for something you do want. At Falmers, we guarantee you're going to be happy with your purchase or we'll buy it back. Falmers, check cashing, pawn service, and sales. 2 times more than you might expect, with 2 great locations.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Burt's Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Burt's Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting Burt'sOrthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Burt's Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas. Brought to you by Falmars Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with 2 great locations in Tallahassee.
College basketball coming up today. The Florida State Seminoles at the Tucker Center laying 17 against Tarleton State. The total 150. Florida Atlantic plus 5.5 at UCF. 152 the total at Addition Financial Arena. North Florida on the road at Georgia has a 12-point dog at the Stegman Coliseum, 158.5 the total there. South Florida laying 23.5 at home with Arkansas Pine Bluff. College football Saturday, Florida Gators plus 5 at home with LSU. Georgia laying 9.5 at home at Tennessee. South Florida 3.5-point favorites at Charlotte. Jaguars are a 13-point road dog at the Detroit Lions on Sunday. Cash back for every bet with a GBank signature Visa card. Visa.com/GBank. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Imagine your team always looking and feeling their best in high-performance technical workwear. Cintas can make it happen. They have garments for almost every job imaginable. And with the Cintas Workwear program, you get freshly laundered garments delivered every week for everyone on your team. Great garments without the bother of laundry. That's a real perk for employees. Find out how Cintas can boost team image and morale. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, you know, to check that your seats aren't in the visitor section first before buying tickets.
I'm so excited for this game. I can't believe we got us tickets. Me too. Wait, are we on the wrong side?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
This is going to be a long game.
You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Pinch A Penny Pools has the largest selection of premium hot springs hot tubs in the city. You might even call it Tallahassee's Hot Tub Hub. 12,000 square feet of hot tubs, with over 50 of them on site. Over 20,000 gallons of tub capacity to choose from. That's 4,620,000 cubic inches of hot tubs. But I digress. So why should you own a hot tub from Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you. Number 1. Health benefits, of course. The healing powers of soaking in a hot, bubbling pool of water go back centuries. Google it. Number 2, Pinch A Penny has hot tubs with technology called Freshwater IQ. It gives you real-time chemical readings and tells you exactly what to add to keep the water at peak perfection, with automated analysis to help you control the chlorine and pH. It's hot tubs for dummies. Sign me up. Number 3, they have the best prices, of course. Plus, you get a free accessory and no interest financing.
Easy peasy. But if you don't want to take my word for it, check them out yourself. Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. Locally owned, locally operated, and the easiest way to find relaxation at home.
The best happy hour in the city is at Café de Martín and El Bar. All day, every day, you can find great deals at Café de Martín while enjoying the best outdoor seating Tallahassee has to offer. Sip away on 2-for-1 house wines, chilcanos, and margaritas all day long, Monday through Thursday. Plus 2-for-1 pisco sours and margaritas on Fridays and Saturdays, and 2-for-1 mimosas for Sunday brunch. Come join us at Café de Martín, where every hour is happy hour, in the Esposito Shopping Center on Capitol Circle Northeast.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, Seminole Headlines, headliner questions about to get started. We got a lot of them, fellas. A busy week, a good week. We got,
not too surprising.
Yeah, not too surprising. We got plenty of questions. We always begin this hour by thanking our dear friend and loyal sponsor, Dr. Birch Orthodontics, who sent me a nice missive about Bryce after learning that he had to have surgery. She took the time to text me and said, hate it for you, all that. Even though her husband is, of course, the principal at Lincoln, she feels bad for Leon Lyons.
There you go. Stinking Lincoln.
They're all Tallahassee natives, though, right?
There it is. Yeah. There it is. Right. So there you go. But as always, Birch Orthodontics, best in the business. Going to see him a week from Thursday.
More than a sponsor. I don't like calling Dr. Birch a sponsor.
I said a wonderful friend.
Family member.
I called her a wonderful friend. I think that's.
I'd say a family member
because she is a sponsor.
I know, but we don't.
I didn't say just a sponsor.
That doesn't define.
I said
we
she's
would
a
be
friend, wonderful friend.
We would be talking about Birch Orthodontics, whether she paid us or not. Right? Can we agree with that?
No.
Yeah, I'm probably
not on the air.
But we would be thrilled with the smiles
yes,
of our kids and stepkids.
We would have taken our kids there regardless.
Yes.
Just wouldn't have been talking about it on the air.
I do feel like one time we should just this spot should just be pictures of our kids' smiles.
That's fair.
Before and afters.
Yeah. Bryce looks great right now, and Clark is in the process, the never-ending process of getting the teeth fixed.
But anyway, Birch Orthodontics.
Yes. The website is birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, and set up a consultation. If you're not sure that your kid needs braces, or one of the big questions we had one orthodontist who wanted to put our oldest in braces like when she was like 8 or 9 or something, and it felt early to me, and then we ended up talking to Dr. Birch, and we kind of came up with a plan. So again, all those kind of questions you have, their staff does an amazing job, and
they do,
and they also great customer service, and you'll be thrilled with the end result.
And Noles.
Yep.
All right.
Die hard Noles, ride or die.
You ready to go?
Yep.
Let's do this. Here we go. We've got a solution to infuse cash into the athletic department here.
Let's go.
This is right out the gates. Here we go. Colin got the message. We need some money around here. With all the financial ventures our university has decided to endure, income for the athletic department needs to increase. Here's a plausible solution. Get the Jags to play in Doak in 2027. They'll be playing home games in different stadiums in 2027 due to the stadium construction that's going on. With Doak's new NFL-like suites and amenities, and the drive being just a couple hours away, seems like a good fit. FSU takes a percentage of the ticket sales. Jags save money on renting a stadium for the entire season. Win-win. If I was in the athletic department, I'd be looking at every possible opportunity to influx this university with more cash.
Well, we know Trevor Lawrence plays well in Doak.
Yeah, he's never lost. Never lost in Doak.
Doesn't seem to play well anywhere else these days, but
that's what rekindle it.
Yeah, he'd get in here and be like, "Oh, I like this place."
You're on the right track. They are. Part of why they're doing these renovations is they do want to do more hosting of other events,
like a concert.
Yeah, concerts is going to be a
Wouldn't
huge
that be
thing.
something?
Well, they couldn't do it before. One of the main reasons they couldn't do concerts before was because they didn't have big enough loading docks or doors, or whatever it is, the bay doors, or whatever, to get trucks in. So it was just a hassle. So artists would prefer other venues that were much easier.
Yeah.
So that they're going to really market that. They're going to do other events in there as well. So it'll be a money maker. And man, if there is a game out there that's kind of up for bid I think Florida State's already in the process of trying to do that. They definitely want to use that stadium more than just 7 days a year.
Maybe the Georgia-Florida game.
Hey,
can come to Tallahassee.
Make it happen.
I actually like it.
That'd be cool. I'd
Absolutely
absolutely go to that
Look
game.
at all these losers.
And you know who you'd be rooting for. That one day, you know who you'd be rooting for.
I don't know.
He'd be rooting for Georgia. He'd be rooting for
They're
Florida.
probably looking to move that game based on the videos coming out of that stadium from this year's Florida-Georgia game.
Yeah.
My goodness
Oh,
gracious.
man.
Just ass whoopings everywhere.
From the men in blue.
Yeah, just ass whooping central everywhere you look. Gentlemen and Corey, how convinced are you that Mike needs to give up responsibility as a play caller? The OL has made play calling tough for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not convinced that scheme is really the problem. Consider the drops and other things that could have had some big plays. Or is this more about him dropping that in order to focus on big picture program stuff and his job? Also, do you just instruct Luke to take sacks at this point? Yeah, that's a separate thing. But your answer, because we've debated this a little bit. I don't think it's scheme. I'm also in favor of him giving up play calling too, so that's fine.
Again, I would like somebody to be able to adjust to having a not great offensive line. I know you can say nobody can coach well with an offensive line. Well, you can make with a bad offensive line.
They could have done more with the material they had.
Is 100% true.
Like they did a jet sweep of Malik Benson. They got 7 yards. Never did it again. Right. Ja'Kai Douglas got a first down on 4th and 1 with the Wildcat.
Yeah, I'd give the
never
Wildcat
got
a
the
few
ball
more
again.
bats, and they haven't done it all season.
But I tell you what they did a lot. Hey, Brock, roll to the right and try to throw it into the cheerleaders. That's what, you're rolling to the right where you shorten the field. You roll to the short side of the field. There's nobody open. That tight end's never going to be open right away.
So those are called one read options.
Right.
And they're trying to eliminate how much he has to do.
Yeah, and they're also limiting the formations. They're trying to do a lot of things to help those guys out, but none of it works.
It's sad.
It's not a great connection there with the coaching, scheming, player.
I would, at a different time, I'd love to talk to Mike. Like, let's say years removed from now, and let's say they got it rolling again. There are some things that truly are inexplicable about this year's play calling, and I'm not a guy who yells at play calling because I actually think Mike was fine a couple years ago in terms of play calling. But I'd really like to know what else is at play here with some of the ridiculousness we see every Saturday. I mean, he's lost it as a game manager. He's lost it understanding.
Well, that's where I think what's happened in the last 4 or 5 weeks is it's just, especially once DJ wasn't going to work out and then he got hurt, is I just think it's one new, every week is a new issue, and he's spiraling, and he's got a staff that's, I'm not saying the staff's checked out, but they're all worried about their jobs.
They're trying to get another
players.
gig.
You definitely have some players checking out.
3 of them are definitely checked out.
So it's just, I'm sure it feels like he's running in quicksand, and so that doesn't help. So that would be my point to the overall question: is it's not about necessarily scheme or play calling. It's about you don't have any more room for error.
No, you don't.
And so you've got to, I think he has to 100% give the offense over to somebody else. And then he needs to take a bigger picture view of everything else.
And you want to ride the refs in these situations because you're free from all that other stuff. Absolutely. You can do those things.
Maybe think about, should I bang a timeout here? Should I call a timeout here?
Don't go here.
Okay. Wait. It doesn't matter because they lost by 49
points. But it does matter because it's a terrible, terrible look.
Yes.
And it was weird. I'll tell you, because I sat in the stands. I know, Ira, you were in the press box, and I was in the Florida State section. In unison, I can't repeat what I heard, but the second the timeout was called, I mean, you're just talking about everyday Joes who go to Florida State games and love their school. In unison, you saw like the Cobra give up, like the Scorpion or whatever the hell it's called. I don't even know. Well,
you almost think they made a mistake announcing who called the timeout.
I couldn't believe it. I thought, well, that's a mistake. He didn't do that.
Notre Dame called that. They said Florida State.
Yeah, I actually did.
It was the same thing a week earlier with North Carolina.
I corrected the guy next to me that I felt like an ass. He was like, Norvell just called that timeout. I'm like,
no way, man. Are you
that?
crazy?
You'd have to be the dumbest man alive to call that timeout.
Well, if they get the stop, guys.
They have 0 timeouts. And they got to go 80 yards. It makes a lot of sense.
As soon as he did it, I was like, wait, no, that's not right. This PA announcer needs to get it together.
I think Freeman in that moment is like, he's really going to call time. I was going to go into halftime down up by 14 at most, and this kid's probably going to miss this field goal. But now they're going to call timeout. Okay, we'll play this game.
We're going to move on from this, but I am curious, and I ask you, sir, because I did not watch the postgame press conference. Believe it or not, 52-3, didn't feel like it. Didn't feel like watching the postgame press conference. Had a suspicion of what he might say. Did anybody ask?
Yeah, he got asked. Aslan asked him.
What did he say?
And I was going to ask him if Aslan hadn't asked him because I'd already had my hand up. he said that the first time out was because they did,
this was 4th and 1.
This is a 4th and 2, 4th and 1, 4th and 2, whatever it was. Around the 45 or so, something like that.
Yep.
His point was, our offense has obviously got issues, but
did he really say that?
Well, I mean, he's just like, he basically said the offense, we've had problems.
Okay.
Like we can't.
So if they get a stop, they have a short
if you
field.
get a stop, if you do get a stop there on 4th down, you're going to get the ball at the 45.
Yeah.
If you can just gain 20 yards, you're in Fitzgerald.
10 yards.
Yeah, maybe you're in Fitzgerald's range. So that gives you a chance to get 3 points before the half, and then you get the ball to start the second half.
Right.
His point is, man, I'm just trying to find a way to give my team a chance to do something. I know we're not going to go 70 yards. So that was why I did the first one.
That makes
Didn't work out.
sense.
I'm going to let that one slide.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm not so sure.
It's not great. It's not great, but it's
makes a little bit of sense.
So the second one, so then they get down, it's 4th and 10.
They're at the 35-yard line. Florida State's 35-yard line.
Yeah, that kid's not going to make that kick.
Because Riley Leonard stinks. They three straight incompletions after the first down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 4th down and 10. And Norvell calls timeout with like 44 seconds. Is that what it was? 45 seconds left.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Because they come out with their field goal unit.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to call a timeout to send out the field goal block unit.
Jeez.
Which to me, I mean, first of all, you shouldn't need to call a timeout to send their field goal block unit.
You shouldn't.
And second of all, even if you do, what are you going to do then with 30 seconds with this team?
Well, you're going to run it back for a touchdown.
It's
14-10, and you're getting the ball.
We're not only blocking it, we're taking it to the crib.
But my point is, and this was my point again early in his tenure, is he never seems to appreciate the bad side could be way worse than the potential good side is.
Right.
And getting beat 52-3 is a lot worse than getting beat 35.
Here's the thing, Ira, you were that kid in high school that never asked out the pretty girl because she might say no.
She might have
slap you in the face.
She might have said no.
She could have been like, good God, I've been waiting for months.
You don't ever look at the bright side, man. He's always thinking, he's like, the pretty girl's going to say yes, and we're going to go out on a date.
But
we're gonna have a
that
great life.
timeout was insane.
Unbelievable.
Especially because your boy had just yanked one into Topeka.
You've won the possession by making them by kicking a field goal.
Of course you have.
But I guess my point with all that is I didn't like the decisions. I didn't like decisions in North Carolina. There's a lot of games, but I just feel like this thing is such a disaster that he's making crazy decisions because it's like when Fitzgerald was having the yips. He would make bad decisions as a coach because he had a kicker that he didn't trust.
Well
now he's got a team that he doesn't trust.
Yeah, I understood that. I'm like, I can't roll this kid out here. He can't make anything. Right. I understood that, but this is like, man, the rat trapping that you're watching from a head coach who normally is, I think, pretty bright.
But that's why I think, man, if you get a fresh start and you can improve the roster, then we'll see what he can do.
They do lead the country in 4th down conversions, Florida State offense. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, they got like 18. They lead the country.
Wow.
That's something.
They often have to.
Yes, because third downs, they don't pick up a lot.
They may have more 4th down conversions than 3rd down.
Yeah, it's close. It's like 29-18.
Yeah. On the other side, they can't create turnovers, and they cannot get a stop on 3rd down.
Yeah, but other
than that, they're kicking ass and taking
the reason
names.
they might be 1-9.
Okay. Jeffrey wants to know, it's a little late to be floating this idea out this season, but just how obligated is FSU to abide by the game time set by television? That is to say, why have we continued to display this crap show in prime time all season long? At least for the home games. Why not just roll out there at 9:30 and get these embarrassments out of the way?
They got a 1:30 one coming up.
Which is really weird. Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah, but a 1:30 is weird.
It is, but finally it's not in prime time.
Yeah, you don't have to go out there.
Not only were most of those first 6 or 7 in prime time, they were like standalone games.
Only game on. You're like, let's showcase this ass football here. Yeah, let's do it. Keep up the good work. I've been unable to stomach watching most of this season, but always listen to headlines. You're all helping us all cope with a disaster of a season.
I was wrong.
Appreciate it.
Florida State's thank you very much. Florida State's second in 4th down conversions. They have 19. Air Force has 22. And if you're wondering, Air Force is third to last in scoring offense this year. They average 16 points.
You know, there's a correlation between
all the 4th down conversions and your offense being really bad.
But don't you not give them their props and try to put us in a place we don't belong. Air Force is ahead of us.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
I'm glad you caught yourself.
22.
All right. Terry writes, another gentleman in Corey. I've got a new hobby. Watching the delusional portion of our fan base fill out future coaching staffs with the ghosts of FSU past. What's your favorite wish/rumor hotboard candidate that has no basis in reality? My favorite currently is Jimbo as the OC.
That's a good one. Or Jimbo's just his quarterback's coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think that dynamic would be with him having a boss at Florida State?
It would go great.
Yeah, I think
go
so.
wonderful.
Swimmingly.
The best of all time was when people were convinced on the message boards in the early 2000s that Bobby could have had Bill Walsh as the OC, but chose not to.
Yeah. Guy invented an entire way of playing football on offense, but he'll take that OC position.
Jeff.
He's going to be like, man, could have had Bill.
They could. I will say this, though. They could have done better than the hire they made after Mark Richt left. I'm on record as saying that. There were better candidates out there. Okay, there were better candidates out there, especially Florida State after going into 2001. Pretty appealing offense hire. Pretty appealing program to work for.
Alana writes, good morning, gents. Pop a cornbread hemp gummy with me and suspend reality for a moment, just for funsies. Rumor has it Jimbo wants to right some wrongs. He's got 75 million reasons to not care, but he has time and wants to help FSU get back to where it once was before he quit on us, and is ready to set up his Christmas tree in the OC's office. Do we take him back? No.
No. Even if he did it for free, because he doesn't need the money.
No.
It's
I also love this
that type of personality in a coaching staff wouldn't work.
Also, and I know I've dissed Jimbo a lot because he dissed us a lot, and there's a lot of give and take there towards the end of his tenure. When's the last time you looked at Jimbo Fisher's offense and thought, need that?
I like running 37 plays a game.
It's just what's this memory? What's this memory that people are hanging on to? It was a decade ago. I had this conversation with somebody the other day, and they brought him up, and I'm like, I got it, man. His best days were over a decade ago.
And he had
what are we talking about?
Generational quarterback at the helm.
Yeah, no, and his offense last year was better than Florida State's this year, but not by much. Or 2 years ago, was it last year that he got fired?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, his offense the last 3 years was one of the
By the way, that was with unlimited resources
and
and
that
the
was
best facilities.
Even
in
bringing in
football.
Bobby Petrino.
Now, if he wanted to be like
and the best NIL recruiting class.
If he wanted to be a consultant and
I'm
tell
not
you
saying
who you should go after in the portal and who can really play.
No, if you want to evaluate talent, he could do that.
Absolutely.
He could always do that.
Till his quarterback evaluations.
Well, the last 7 or 8 years, I would not go with somebody that was running that offense because that offense was gross for most of the time.
But
We
I
had
would
great
be
players.
open to it, just to hear rants about sliced bread. Just to hear him talking about sliced bread.
And he'd have to talk to us.
Yeah, well.
Because Mike Norvell lets all the assistants talk.
Yeah, not going to happen, but that was a fun one, and I appreciate you submitting it. More headliner questions forthcoming. Stay with.
This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Investors, are you looking for a creative way to purchase your next rental property? Are you looking to get into the Airbnb space? If so, you need to know about DSCR loans. It stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. These are loans that do not require traditional income verification. As long as the proposed rent covers the mortgage payment on the subject property, that's the only income you need. If you're looking at investing and don't know if you can qualify, let's set up a plan to get your next income producing property and start putting you on a path to passive income. Give me a call at 954-369-6171. And don't forget, every fellow Nole that we close a loan for, I will personally make a donation of $250 to the Battle's End. It's Shannon Young at 954-369-6171.
Equal housing NMLS number 373033.
Time. It's the one thing we never get back. We can't create it. We can't buy it. We can't store it somewhere. Once it's gone for good, which makes it the most valuable thing we have. The only real question is how we spend our time. So, how much time are you spending every day running in circles with a computer network using old software on old equipment that's wasting your time, that gets in the way and leaves you feeling angry and frustrated? Let's fix that. Call Crown Networking. They've been helping people just like you and I make the best use of their time for the last 20 years. Now is the time for you to make the call. Here's the number in Tallahassee, 850-999-0090, 999-0090, or online at crownnetworking.com. Oh, and talk to them about getting you a new phone system, too. You know, it's time.
I'm attorney Dana Brooks with Basic Brooks Law Offices, and we believe you. Now, what does that mean? Over and over, we hear from the people we represent that when they shared their story of how they were injured, either law enforcement, insurance companies, or business owners just didn't believe them. That's why you need an attorney who has your back, no matter what. An attorney who starts by believing you're telling the truth. We're Basic Brooks, and we believe you. Let's talk. 850-777-7777.
Tallahassee is full of rich history and traditions. When you think of things that jump out in the minds of longtime residents, the state capitol, McClay Gardens, the Springtime Tallahassee Parade, FSU and FAMU Sports, the St. Mark's Lighthouse, St. George Island, and Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Paul's has been protecting thousands of people, their pets, their homes, and their lawns in the capital region for over 50 years. Locally founded and still locally owned and operated. There aren't many businesses in our industry that keep it together that long. Paul's Pest Control has many customers we've been honored to serve for over the last 50 years. We've experienced tremendous changes in how we treat homes and protect the people that live there. We've moved from liquid termite treatments that require drilling into the home's foundation to Centricon, a baiting system which works with their natural biology. We've moved from interior service to exterior treatments for general pests. But one thing we're not going to change is our old-fashioned commitment to personal service for each of our customers, the same way we've been doing it for over 50 years.
For the elimination of termites, any other pests, and a greener lawn too.
Call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
I like this question. It's a good question. Would you go to the portal, right, Zach, and grab a quarterback after this year? Outside of a few moments in the Clemson game, neither quarterback has looked any good. Again, it's not all their fault, but a lot is riding on next season for Mike, and hitching his wagon to one of these guys is a huge risk. So maybe he considers grabbing a multi-year guy, and if Brock and Luke leave, then so be it. The other side of the argument is, who would come here as a transfer after this DJ debacle? Tough place to be in if you're Mike.
I think what you have going on, though, is you do have you should be theoretically bringing a new OC, right? That will have had more success with the quarterback you just had than that Norvell just had. So that, that's I definitely think a portal is a very strong option.
100%. I mean, here's the thing.
Maybe the guy you bring in has a tie to the guy, the coordinator you bring in has a tie.
He runs the offense, is what you're
something
saying,
like that.
Yeah.
Something like that would be ideal. But even if
you brought it up earlier, Vandy, they did it to Vandy. Yeah.
But even if you can't do that, I mean, look, man, I'm just of the opinion now with college football. To me, college football is kind of going where college basketball had gone, where you had these 25-year-old dudes like Leonard would do it. He'd beat Duke because he had a bunch of 23 and 24-year-olds, and Duke had some superstar 17 and 18-year-olds. I think you look at what Cignetti's done at Indiana. He's got a bunch of older dudes that have played a ton of college football and been good college football players, but not superstars. Braden Fisk is a perfect example, Western Michigan. And you don't have to go beat out. I know everybody's like, we're not going to be able to beat out Georgia or LSU or anybody from those top transfers. Yes, that's true. Go find old-ass, strong, good players that maybe can pick up your system because they're smarter dudes who played a lot of college football, and then infuse them in. And when it comes to the quarterback position, I don't even care if it's a multi-year guy. They have to win in 2025. And if Brock and Luke both leave in a cab, as soon as you bring in a transfer quarterback, man, that's the deal.
You don't think they're calling an Uber? They're getting in a cab?
You can.
They made some money now.
you can, an Uber XL, Uber Black.
Yeah.
There's just you can't worry about the future.
Absolutely not. Nope. Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
There's nothing from either one of them that makes you believe they are the future.
They have shown nothing at all that makes you think.
And that's not their fault,
correct.
But you can't bank on it.
Yeah, he screwed this up. That would be the byproduct of his screwing this up, is that you may end up losing these two kids, and maybe they both go on to be great or not. Nobody will know. You don't have time to find out.
And you don't have time to care.
You've got to find something right now. It is a quandary though, because he's right. Zach's right. Like, It is going to be tough unless it's tied to the guy you're bringing in, because I do think like free agent quarterbacks are going to go, so what happened with the last guy? I'm not real sure.
But I don't think that won't be applicable, right? Because they'll say, yeah, your offense averaged 14 points a game. It's like, yeah, all those guys are gone.
Right.
We're giving you real talent.
Yeah, but you're still asking to take a leap of faith in a guy that just went 2-10.
But
also a guy that just went 13-0 before that.
Yeah, like again, Indiana when got the guy from Ohio. There are quarterbacks out there. Vandy's doing it with the guy from New Mexico State.
Miami got a guy from Washington State.
Right. Who before that was at Incarnate Ward. So Incarnate Word.
Well,
Incarnate Word.
Yeah. Did you say Incarnate?
Incarnate Ward.
You were trying to say
Internet? Oh, you were saying Ward because his last name. They should change the name to Incarnate Ward because of Cam Ward.
Yeah.
If he wins the high, or maybe in the NFL, he'll claim Incarnate Word.
Incarnate Ward.
Easy for you to say instead of Miami.
Oh man. Okay.
By the way, how about the way they lost?
Yeah.
Georgia Tech owns them.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech owns them.
I mean,
they couldn't even throw passes. Haynes King could not throw passes because of his shoulder.
Yeah.
They had to bring in the backup to
throw passes, which should have tipped Miami off. They're probably going to throw it here because they took Haynes King out and they still scored 30 points and won.
Greg wants to know, when was the last time, if ever, that FSU had a 1:30 kickoff?
Yeah, Aslan asked that. I maybe back in the 70s or 80s, but I think all their home games were at night back then. I would say never. They used to be on the Superstation, Ira, sometimes in the 80s.
135?
Maybe like a 135.
Yeah, does PBS still do 5:05 on their times for stuff?
No, I don't. They don't do the Braves anymore, so I don't think so.
And that was the best, though.
Man.
05, 135.
Yeah,
Ted Turner, a bit of a marketing genius. Let's make this stand out a little. Let's use 705.
Burke says, obviously, we don't have the 132nd level of talent on the offense. Can anything be salvaged over these last two games? Could the coaching shake things up and we see better effort and execution over the next two games?
Yeah, I don't imagine it's going to get a whole lot better.
Their numbers are going to skyrocket when they run it up on Charleston Southern. All of these dreams we had of finishing dead last in every important category are going to be ruined.
Oh, no.
Ruined. They're going to drop 50.
The good news is FMRAU doesn't take into account games against FCS teams, so
correct.
you still got a shot there. But yeah, they're currently last in the nation in scoring, they're currently last in the nation in scoring, Ira. Have you let that settle in?
Oh, yeah.
10 weeks into a season, Florida State is dead ass last in the nation in touchdowns and points scored.
I bring it up on the bonus hour coming up that I want you really to let that marinate for a moment.
Think of all
there's a lot of football teams.
A lot of really bad ones.
Play. You're not better than them on offense.
Watch Michigan's offense play.
Oh, it's hard to do.
And they're scoring twice as much as you.
And
it's crazy.
Duke's offense. I've been winning money against Michigan all year long because that quarterback, I watched week 1 and week 2 and went, oh, he can't play. This is awful at all. Not even a little bit. Even a little bit. Just started until Vegas figured it out. We were 7 weeks in of me stealing money. It was an ATM every week. F this Michigan team. They can't score. Team total under. Team total under. Team total under.
And you kill for that offense. You kill for an offense that can score 21, 24 points in a Big Ten game.
That's largely because their defense is really good and they get stops and they get field position because of it. I don't know.
Isn't that cool when if your offense is really bad, the defense can pick up the slack a little bit? That's pretty cool. That's
the dad guy says, who are the staff additions that would be a lock for 8+ wins in 2025? I don't know, but Norvell better find them.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Hey, and here's the thing. They are out there. There are some great football coaches out there that would come to Florida State in a heartbeat. There are. And that would turn around your fortunes very quickly.
And hopefully they'll bring players.
Yes.
Got to identify those coaches who are going to bring those players, get them in here, get them started, get them going now. Don't know what that recruiting class is going to look like. This is going to be interesting to see.
What recruiting class?
I'll give them credit so far.
Yeah.
The kids that are committed right now since the changes have not jumped off. So we'll see. And there's been some encouraging comments. Michael's got a story coming up right now about Byron Lewis, the 4-star running back. He's saying, Norvell's my guy.
I just want the offensive and defensive linemen. Just tell me about them.
Yeah. Well, so far they're saying that they're locked in with Norvell. They want to know who the O-line coach is going to be before they bail. Man, that's the best you could hope for.
That is by far the best you can hope for. I'm shocked they haven't bailed.
Wouldn't it be awesome when they announce these hirings, these coach hirings that'll start rolling out in December after the game, that, okay, here's our new wide receivers coach, Jim Smith. And then it's a picture of him with the 4 dudes he's bringing with him. The 4 players he's got already locked and
Like
loaded.
the 4 horsemen in wrestling. They're all standing there.
The offensive line coach has got 6 guys with him, picking them up. They're all coming.
The cavalry's on the way.
Yeah.
You have a poster?
It's not. I don't just want a picture of the coach. I want a picture of the coach and what players he's bringing with him.
The Louis he's bringing.
Yeah, exactly right, Ira. Well said.
Hey, at this point, American Tourister. We'll take whatever.
I don't know what that is. I assume that's a type of luggage.
Yeah.
I'll take a Samsonite.
There you go.
Remember that commercial? They're just beating the
the
luggage. Howdy, handsome fellas. Clearly, Mario Cristobal has contracted yellow jacket fever. With Syracuse opening as the favorite and this being Miami's most talented team in 2 decades, is it safe to say that Cristobal has peaked after beating a 1-9 FSU team?
Syracuse is favored to beat?
I don't think that's right.
That can't be right.
Can't be right.
I'm going to look that up. But, hey, don't dance on their graves too much, guys. There's still a better than not chance they win the ACC.
They got bailed out afterwards.
They did, but they'll be in the game almost certainly. I guess unless they lose to big favorite Syracuse.
Jared writes, what do you guys say? Shall we go get Will Muschamp for DC?
Yeah, people are throwing that name out there.
I'm all right with it.
Yeah, sure.
No, seriously, I'm all right with it. They'll play hard and they'll hit somebody. He's
he'll hit somebody.
He's difficult.
Yeah.
Might make for weird press availability and all that, but dude, that will be nasty.
The composition of the staff will be interesting because I do think, man, if you look at how Mike Norvell has built his staffs in the past, especially since he's been at Florida State, it is very much a group of guys that he likes that all get along well.
Throw it out the window, Ira. Throw it out the window, buddy.
It'll be interesting. Like, do you go to some mercenaries?
Biggest a-holes on the planet. Right. Let's go. Bring him in here.
You either care about winning or you don't.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, look, man, if you're going to pay to assassinate somebody, you don't need a guy you like.
You don't want a guy that feels bad about shooting someone.
And listen, man, Mike Norvell made one of the comments that I thought was real interesting in his comments yesterday was he talked about when he talked to the team, he said it got real. And he basically said, it sounded to me, I don't have the transcript in front of me, basically like these coaches can be fired and you can too. Like
you can take it on down the road. Right. That's what it sounded like to me.
So that to me
said something like mutual accountability about it. Yeah.
And he said like
we all share the responsibility.
And to me, I think the message is to everybody in the program, man, like, look, we're firing people. And if you want to be here, you can be here. But if you don't want to be here, you're
Let
gone.
me know now.
And even if you want to be here, you may not be here. And so to me, that is very liberating, and I'm curious to see what he does with that.
Man, it's important that he does it because that has been a criticism. There are some kids on this roster that have no business being on this roster
100%.
and could have been told a long time ago to have a good day. And football's changed. It used to be that you
were stuck with him for 5 years.
That's not anymore. No. Year 2, kid can't play. Get him out.
Yeah.
Get him out. Call Furman. Do something. We got to go. We got to move on because, And I hope he realizes this now.
Yeah, you have a lot of good, and that was the thing that was frustrating early this season. Man, we had a conversation. I think it was either after Georgia Tech, it might have been after BC, but you brought up culture, and you said there's got to be a problem with the culture in the locker room. And what I pushed back with it was, it's not a bad culture, and we sat right here and had this conversation.
Yeah,
it's not a bad culture in terms of like you have a lot of turds in there.
They're not bad people.
I think you have a lot of good kids that don't really care too much and are not real competitive and are not willing to hit anybody.
Well, there were some dudes. There were some dudes that kept getting run that I'm like, he can't play, Mike. You got to know he can't play.
Right.
This is smoke or get smoked. That's all this is. You're either good or you're not. You can't play. You suck.
Somebody made it. You know who made a great? Coach Henshaw made a great point last week. It didn't make it in his column, but he said it didn't make.
I can't wait to hear this.
It didn't make it in there, but he said
point that you edited out.
Well, it just didn't fit in what we were talking. But anyway, what he said was he was talking about. Nobody's ever accused North Carolina of being a real tough team, physical team, which is true. And then he said, and it's honestly, it's easy to look tough and physical when you're playing a team that doesn't have that. Like you can bully, it's easy to push around people who are not going to fight back. And that's what Florida State has become.
Yeah.
It's the hardest part of watching what we watch is that it's not just that they're bad, they're soft. And you see the evidence of how soft they are around every turn. And it drives me, I'm with Henshaw. It drives me crazy. Yeah. He's mentioned it in many different ways. He's worded it many different ways in Henshaw's house. Every week I'm like, thank you, coach, because this is some nonsense. Dude, first play of the game. First Notre Dame offensive play as the tackle on the sideline. We're going to lay on the sideline here. That's what we're going to do again. Every effing week we make a tackle. We got to lay there for a minute and a half. You're not hurt. Get up. Get up and go to the sideline and get over it. It's football. Either you're injured, then lay there, or just, you know what? It's a tweak. It's burner. Man, get the hell up.
And I'm
get up.
Don't love any of this.
They do it all the time.
But that young man was back in the game pretty quickly.
They always are, Ira. Drives me batty, man. I remember coaches screaming at us, get up. It's like in boxing if you get hit.
Yeah.
It sucks. You just got hit. That's the game, baby. That's the game.
Yeah, you don't fall down every time you get hit.
Again. Yeah. You're going to get hit again unless you do a better job of protecting yourself. Let's go.
Well, in the conversation you guys had it last week on Wake Up, responding to, Jeff and other people saying this team had quit in the last couple of weeks. And I think Aslan's point was, but you still see them running full speed. It's not like you see them just completely lollygagging. But I think where it shows up on defense that you're quitting is if you're not going to hit somebody.
You're not laying it on the line.
Exactly.
You're not laying it on the line.
You're not
so
trying.
That's
What they do is they look like they're playing football. I see it every week. They just run alongside somebody till somebody gets him, kind of pushes him to the ground or whatever. Guy's tired of running. Maybe he might fall down.
And part of it's human nature, man, because this team sucks.
Yeah, why would you lay your body on the line to lose by 40 points? Yeah.
And for an offense that's never going to score.
That's fair, but man.
No, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying, I do give them a little bit of a benefit.
It's tough. I know we're losing begets losing, and I say that a lot too, so you can't have it both ways. But man, to see him football's so hard, you can't not play it fast. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt if you don't play fast. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Mainly cloudy this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 80. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. 66 tonight. Highs around 77 tomorrow. Cloudy skies. Upper 70s Thursday with a slight chance for showers. Mid 70s, lots of sunshine Friday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 79 degrees.
This is Alex from Fulmer. We've been buying gold and silver jewelry, fine watches, and other collectibles for over 45 years. But did you know Fulmer's buys and sells gold and silver coins, bars, and bullion? Don't get scammed online or pay high shipping and handling fees. Call or stop by Fulmer's for a quick and easy quote. No matter if you're new to investing in bullion or have been collecting a lifetime, Fulmer's is your local source for buying, selling gold and silver coins and bullion. Fulmer's, more than you might expect, with 2 great locations. As you probably know, Fulmer's buys, sells, and loans on just about anything of value. What you might not know is that when you buy something from us, we guarantee the total satisfaction of your purchase. Buy it, take it home, and if for any reason you decide you don't want it within 7 days, Fulmer's will give you 100% of your money back. And if you decide you don't want the item within 30 days, Fulmer's will let you exchange it for something you do want. At Fulmer's, we guarantee you're going to be happy with your purchase or we'll buy it back. Fulmer's, check cashing, pawn service, and sales. 2 times more than you might expect with 2 great locations.
Siri, tell me a joke. How many apples grow on an apple tree? All of them.
All jokes aside, the trained professionals at Mac & More Systems are serious about Apple products. For all your Mac repairs, call Mac & More Systems at 894-3622. 894-3622.
Leaky faucet, busted pipes, clogged toilet? M&L Plumbing is here for you. For all commercial, construction, and residential plumbing issues, call M&L Plumbing at 575-9393 or visit online at mnlplumbing.com.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor. Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Flo here from Progressive to tell you how you get more than great savings with us. You get customer service access through our mobile app, online chat, or by phone. That's a lot of ways I can get in touch with you. I see what's going on here. You can't name favorites, but I'm your #1 customer. Actually, we offer all our customers these ways to contact us. I'm sure you give just any customer your personal company contact info. Well, you did call us more than any other customer this year. So in that sense, you are our #1 customer.
Get help from Progressive through the website, app, chat, or phone. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. SeminoleHeadlines.com. Register sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
All right, good question here, boys. I think you'll enjoy this one. Gentlemen. Well, nope, that's the wrong one. Sorry about that. Gentlemen, same beginning. It's year 5, and it may turn out that Mike hasn't brought in a quarterback from high school. Purdy, Rodemaker, Duffy, Glenn, Kromenhoek, or the portal, Milton, DJ, capable of starting. Shouldn't the top priority for an OC hire be someone who can evaluate and develop a quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mike's had a hard time with that.
Yeah, I mean, and
it's definitely one of the top priorities.
But I also think that why this is part of the reason I do feel like you need to go for a portal quarterback that's done it.
Yeah.
Because then you feel like, okay, there's a lot less risk than if you're going to get another.
You haven't seen anything. And again, all the caveats, all the qualifiers about who's playing with them and who's blocking for them. You haven't seen anything from either one of these guys that gives you any confidence at all that they can be a quarterback of a winning football team or a championship football team.
There are talents in each one of them,
Correct.
Different talents that you could see working.
Yes.
But
if they had a better situation.
Yeah, but the situation right now is a disaster. So you can't bank on that.
Yeah.
You'd like him to stay.
Yes, correct.
I would really like them both to stay, to be honest with you. I like Brock's toughness. Yeah. I think Kromenhoek is toolsy.
Yes. Hand talent, I like to say.
Yeah, but he can't operate with the system that he's in right now. He's staring down at people running at his feet. Milliseconds after he gets the ball. I mean, his head drops.
Yeah, but even when, exactly. When the line's terrible and they deserve a lot of, but there's 15 sacks in the last 2 weeks.
Oh yeah,
was a lot with just looking at the
dude. There are 4 Luke sacks specifically that have nothing to do with the offensive line these last 2 weeks. Where I'm like, come on, man, you got 5 seconds, throw the ball.
And can't there be like, this is your route? Throw it to him. I don't care if he's double covered.
That's where I put it back on the coaching staff.
The ball. Yeah. Throw the ball.
Yeah, that's what they were trying to do with the one rate stuff.
And stuff. And that's, usually that helps. But man, dropping them back on 3rd and long, every time they did it, Aslan and I were like, okay, sack.
Yep.
I mean, you know it's gonna be a sack.
You know what's weird about those rollouts is it still doesn't look buttoned up.
No,
it looks hurried and it's an impossible catch. You're asking a 5'7" receiver to make with somebody on him going against it.
There's only one guy in the route.
Yeah, it's
you're taking away 2/3 of the field.
It was really, and Notre Dame, they weren't fooled by it once.
No.
It wasn't even like, oh, okay, well now we got to adjust. No, we got this. You're good.
How about my man Morlock though?
Yeah,
catching everything, gang. Catching everything.
First round, buddy.
Well, I'm not saying that.
I'm kidding.
He's made us. Hey, that's a feel good story, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just what we'll all remember from this year.
and a player on the team that's gotten better as the years go on.
That's right. Gentlemen, if football was sacrificed to return to Omaha, we should have gotten that called 3rd strike for this nonsense.
Yeah,
for sure.
Which is more likely, the 10-year note has come due on all the bargains 2014 FSU fans made with the football gods, or FSU is trying to get kicked out of the ACC. That is well.
Well, yeah, they're getting relegated.
Yeah,
that's a nice avenue to go down.
And apparently, so they also, like a week or two ago, they had the team from last season kind of celebrated at Hauser. They all got back together, which was really cool. That was a cool team. That was a special team.
The baseball team, last year's baseball team, was celebrated at Hauser.
And not like a formal big thing, but I think they were all back. And
all right, okay.
And no, just that team's gonna be remembered really fondly.
That was an eminently likable team.
Yeah.
They
could
had
match.
a ton of power, but they were tough too. They were tough. Yeah, it was nice to see. 2-part question from Manuel. Do you feel better about potential coaching hires with Alford involved, being that he has a good track record with some other sports? Would there be a scenario where he targets a top-tier coordinator with the thought that if things didn't work out, he would be the successor?
Man, you're playing with fire there, because now you just get into that game of,
yeah, buddy. Yeah, we know a certain famous defensive coach.
Right.
The second he's hired, everybody's like, watch your back.
Yes.
Watch your back.
Steven Keel.
Oh, there you go. Nice. I was going to say, not Mickey.
No, and there are many of them out there. There are mercenaries you can hire. Bobby Petrino. Jimbo bringing in Bobby Petrino probably didn't help a ton.
It was my favorite offseason move ever when that happened. And then Jimbo's getting repeatedly asked about Petrino's offense, and he came this close of saying, Petrino's a dumbass. Stop asking me about this dumbass.
It's crazy that he even brought in Petrino. They didn't say go get Petrino. They just said go get somebody to run your offense, and he went and got that guy. I would say, I just – why it's Norvell's decision, right?
As far as who he hires?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean,
I guess Alford could clear the checkbook
Right.
and say, yes, we'll pay that much for this guy, but it's, and I guess he has to negotiate with Sexton, but
and he may have like, hey, have you thought about so-and-so? Like they're going to work together.
Right.
But ultimately, Mike Norvell's, they're not. Now I do feel like Willie got forced to hire Kendall Briles because I think he was a coach he was willing to hire, and it was kind of a marriage. Like they all agreed to it. I don't think they're going to be as heavy-handed here, but yeah, they'll have input. And like you said, they do have to sign off on. But man, what amount? If you had a great OC who was willing to come here right now, what wouldn't you pay?
Oh, I don't think you have any choice but to pay top bill, whatever that costs you for the best possible candidate. You're saving on the $64 million you're not having to spend.
Yeah.
So if you have to spend 20 on a new staff to save the $44 million in exchange that you would, it's even less. It's even more than that because you'd have to pay all that off and then hire a new staff and all of them and all the most.
Yeah, it's close to probably $100 million.
Yeah. So you can't be chintzy now. You're going to have to go all in.
And they haven't been chintzy in the past.
No, they've never been cheap about assistants. That's another thing is that they've never been cheap with that. They want to win. They know football is the whole thing.
Yeah.
You got to win here.
And especially now with what you're trying to do, getting out of this conference, trying to be appealing to another conference and coming off a historically bad season. Yeah, man, they're going to spend whatever they have to spend to, in their mind, get it right.
And I know we said this before, but I just want to emphasize it again. If you look at coaches' bios, especially coaches that have moved around a couple times, one of the things you're going to see in their bios is came to a school that averaged this many points a game, which was 13. And in my first year, we averaged 28 points a game, or 32 points
more
a
than
game.
28, damn
34 points a game, whatever it is. You look like a miracle worker.
Yeah.
So it's there are some attractive things about this job. Now, one that we didn't talk about earlier, I thought about it later. Being in the ACC and not knowing the future of the team and all that is a drawback.
There are some drawbacks, big time drawbacks. There are also some big time pluses. Right. I think that any coach that's considering this, the first thing that they would want to know is how stable am I if I take this job? How many years am I going to be there? Do I have it? I mean, you're going to fire this guy? If you're not going to fire this, I think by Norvell being allowed to announce coaching changes that you are guaranteed. Well, I shouldn't say guaranteed. You're pretty close to guaranteed that he's going to be here for another 2 years.
If you're not fired after this debacle,
right. My point is
pretty stable,
and you're free to make these choices.
Yes, correct.
You wouldn't give him the option to make any changes if you're firing his ass anytime soon. So
it's not like next year only paying $53 million is appealing for a buyout. It's still going to be an absurd.
It's another
amount.
2-3 years that he's going to be here, unless we get this again next year.
And a good comparison, I think, is the other two big schools in the Big Three. If you look at what Miami did with Mario Cristobal last year, they let him fire all of his assistant coaches and bring in all new assistant coaches because they knew they had to have him succeed. So why they also went and got Cam Ward for whatever they paid him and all of those other transfers they brought in. Florida, they're letting Napier stay next year apparently, but my guess is they're not going to be investing a ton into him right now. Now they have Lagway. It's a nice piece.
That's a huge piece.
And if maybe that would entice them to. But I think it has more to do with the fact they don't have a president right now. They've got an interim president.
They don't love their athletic director at all.
They've got
they're probably going to end up firing that basketball coach.
That's their fifth. That's like the fifth or fourth or fifth scandal they've had with a coach. In player harassment type situations. So I just think their timing is a little bit different. But Florida State, Norvell's kind of in the middle. Like I don't think there's not the world of confidence that he's going to get it done, but they do know they have to invest in it. So I just don't. I think there's going to be a commitment to bring in good coaches.
Man, I was just thinking about the idea, if you're Mike Norvell, that you get this reprieve because of this situation, man, it would be liberating, in a sense. Like I can go out and get. Now, again, we'll see who's part of that pool. I'd be very, very interested. And you're right. You have to be very careful who you hire. You don't want to be constantly looking over your shoulder, but you do want to give them carte blanche to do what they need to do. And they need to be sure that you're not being fired anytime soon. So, did you think it was odd that he let it leak about NFL guys?
I think he was letting.
He brought that up on his own.
I think he was letting us know and the recruits know that it's an attractive
It's an
job.
appealing job. He's letting the fans know Florida State is still Florida State. People want to come coach here.
I think that's true, but do you believe he's heard from somebody in the NFL?
Yeah,
I heard
but
that
could be anybody.
it was Kingsbury and then Munkin from the Ravens.
I love Munkin.
Munkin's great. He did
is
really
good.
good. He's a lot better than Mike Bobo.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can tell you that as somebody that watches
Munkin's great.
Georgia's
If you can bring
football
Munkin in,
games.
I think Munkin has his eyes on being a head coach soon, but
Whatever. He
Ravens running backs coach might have reached out, offered some help.
you think wouldn't it be hilarious if that was the actual call?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I know how to use this.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
got NFL coordinators on this position."
You see what he's done with Derrick Henry? Come on now. He's crushing it up there.
Before that, Derrick Henry was.
He was nobody. You ever heard of him?
No.
I thought he was
never
out.
accomplished anything.
Wasn't sure how he's been in the league.
You got to
so.
look at his talents and say, "Hey, big fella, we're going to get you running downhill.
We're going to go north and
I
south.
think you're tough to tackle.
Yeah.
What's all this east west?
Yeah.
What are we doing?" Nobody can answer this, I don't suppose. We've all taken a crack at it. But FSU 182-777. When did it first go wrong for FSU?
You know what? I mean, I want to talk about that real quick.
Okay.
Just one thing. From a team standpoint, there's some other factors probably from the snub and how they handled that, and the opting out of the bowl and all that big picture stuff. But to me, this whole team, it goes back to them being wrong on the offensive line and then having a couple of injuries there. Because if they weren't wrong about the offensive line, and I think they were wrong because they believed in the three returning guys, mostly because of what Jordan had done with them in front of them before, and then also the guys they were bringing in as transfers, that made them believe they would be able to run the ball, which made them believe that they could have DJ as the quarterback. When you take that away and you can't run the ball and you have DJ as a quarterback, you're screwed. We all knew it, man. When they started throwing the ball 35, dropping DJ back 35 or 40 times, you're just like, but this nobody had this on our bingo card.
No.
So they was screwed at that point. Now that's their fault. They effed up in their evaluations and what they did.
Mike specifically messed up the quarterback situation being a fit for something that he thought was real that turned out not to be real at all.
If you don't have, just think of the scenario. If you have an offense with an offensive line that can't block very well, so you can't run the ball, you have a quarterback who's not a dynamic quarterback, certainly not mobile. And then you've got this receiving core, which Corey said they should just have pictures of FSU's receivers on those pedestrian crossing signs.
Because they're very pedestrian.
He got it. He got
Which, by the way, is funny. If all over town we saw that, I would really laugh.
Yeah.
Feel free, everybody.
I mean, what the hell? But now if you had a great running game, everything else could kind of work. So that to me,
you'd have a shot at it.
And then as the season's gone on, the defense has gone to hell because I think that just
he thought
morale.
He thought it was going to be like DJ can win 8 games at Oregon State with a really good running game. He's good enough to get us 9 or 10
also
wins.
that offense and that coach I like a lot. That's
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I think Norvell's thinking, okay, we're better than that. We got a better offensive line than that. We got better coaches.
And there's some ego,
players
and
than
he
that.
thought he was better.
Yes,
that he would
correct.
get more out of DJ.
Yep.
But
So to me, that's the root. That's the root of it all. It's not like I just don't want people to think that he thought that those receivers and that quarterback situation was going to just light it up on people. But they couldn't do what they thought they could do. And once you can't do that, you're kind of screwed.
They can't do diddly poo.
It had to have been a horrific moment. I think we saw it a couple times on his face in the Georgia Tech game in Dublin. There were a couple of moments where he had a look that we began to see pretty persistently throughout the course of the year, which was, oh no, what is this?
Some of the guys they missed on, and then also some of the guys that they were thinking were going to be better than they were. And then you had a couple injuries. Richie Leonard getting hurt was a big deal.
That was a big deal.
It's not going to change the complexion of the season.
They're not going 8-4 with Richie.
But like you were already teetering, and then you have that injury, and you had a couple other, they've had some bad luck to go with, some poor decisions and things going wrong.
Yeah, and then it gets weird because you don't know what's because of the losing and what was there before the losing. But I don't think they were tough going into this season. I don't think they were physically tough team.
And I don't think that's been a hallmark, really.
No, it hasn't been.
Is what you thought it would be. And that was a frustrating thing to me because, again,
I think that 2022 O-line was tough. I thought that
they had some
2022
toughness
O-line
about
was
them. No,
tough.
they definitely did.
Yeah.
Especially against teams that didn't want to be there, like that Miami defense.
Jeff, you were in the crowd real quick in South Bend. Was anybody in the third quarter just yelling Hail Mary offense? Just throwing?
No, not a single person. Most of them were leaving.
Oh,
most of them were leaving. It was getting bitterly cold in the second half. That wind came whipping in. Score was getting bigger.
Would you have liked to see them just throw the ball deep every now and again or every play?
I was close to booing them. I just was so sad. We got 5 seconds.
On the pick six, were you more impressed by Toafili's effort or Brock Lynn's effort?
I'm going to give
They both
Toafili a
gave some
pass
effort.
because he ran down the guy.
He did.
And he
He's
gave
just
some
tired
effort.
of this. He's tired. I don't blame LT.
Say
You're
goodbye.
a real one.
Say goodbye.
See you next week.
Bye, gang. Love you guys. Peace.